Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Irvine. Um, I'm doing this video to discuss and hopefully gain some attention, and maybe we all can come together and fight Purdue and all the other manufacturers of the opioid litigation, class action lawsuit. Um, I guess the best way to start is to give you a little background. Well, we can start off by first talking about um, like the tobacco settlement. I see that a lot of comparison in the internet of how the government was given what I think it was $264 billion in the tobacco class action lawsuit or a mass type of deal. Firstly, I see where they've spent 2 to 3% of that money actually towards tobacco programs, quit smoking, advertising of children, all the different things that were done. So most of that money went to fixing potholes, building bridges. I know I read where a state police got a gymnasium. I think the governor of our state, West Virginia, um, was trying to buy a helicopter. So we know what happens firstly when they get the money and they are allowed to be responsible for it. But to even make that comparison is actually a bad comparison. Just to give you a quick history, I was I grew up in West Virginia, as we all know. That's kind of the triangle of death and the kind of epicenter for the opioid crisis. You know, what reason I call it triangle of death is West Virginia is number one per capita for overdose deaths. Number two is Ohio, which is about 5 minutes west of here, and about 15 minutes east of here is number three, Pennsylvania. So I grew up in this area around it, but there wasn't anything like that growing up. I turned 50 years old. I went in the military, got an honorable discharge, got out, had dreams, admirations. I bought a home. I worked as an insurance investigator. Life was good for me. I started having some back problems. The MRI showed a 70-year-old spine in a 26-year-old man. I had ruptured disc, herniated disc, stenosis, degenerative disc disease. The doctors prescribed me opioids. Um, and after, start out with Vicodin, then Percocet, and then, I was given Oxycontin. This was in the 90s, and, I was told that it's the miracle drug, non-addictive, 12-hour medicine, which now we all know is a blatant lie. But I was prescribed that. I trusted a doctor. I trusted what they told me, and found out later down the road. Well, by the end of it, I was taking I was prescribed two 60 milligram, 80 milligram oxycontins a day plus four 30 milligram Roxy sets a day, and so by the time I knew how bad it was, how sick I got before they even wrote it in the newspapers years later. And then now we know that that they lied to us. So, in the tobacco lawsuit, there wasn't individuals that technically you could kind of pinpoint that were misrepresented, were taken advantage of. It was just a group of people. They marketed kids. Everybody knew tobacco was bad for them, but for a lot of us, the people, the original people, we were actually prescribed it. We were the target. We were the actual people that they injured and completely ruined my life. Um, I thought that the medicine was my problem, so I told them to. I called my doctor one day and said, "Hey, don't give me these anymore because they're killing me." And so he did so, and unfortunately, I got very sick. I didn't know anything about addiction. I thought the pills were my problem at that point. I didn't know the gift that Purdue had given me, where they completely, basically removed my soul and left me with this shell. So, because after that, I couldn't get anything back. I couldn't really get help. I went to a methadone clinic. I was there. I was in and out. My mind has changed. It was altered, to a point to where, that's all I thought about. And I've never, I wasn't like this before that. I wasn't like this until I was prescribed by a doctor for 15 years and trusted that person. So, I've been to 3 detoxes, 2 rehabs. I overdosed. It was my first rehab, actually. Right after I overdosed right after I got out of the rehab, 8 months clean, and then I overdosed. That was the first time. 45 years old is when I learned about addiction, and this lawsuit now is more. They need to classify it more like a car accident. I ran you in my car. You got injured. You know who caused that injury. It wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You were sitting at a red light or whatever have you, and I rear-end you. So you know that I caused your damages. I injured you. Well, the same has happened in this case, that there are, a group of us who they know were injured by Purdue. So why should the government get the money? Why should cities, states? Hey, I'm not trying to downplay the epidemic. I'm not trying to take away from anything that they have done. I know they've spent a lot of money, but when I remember a claim I had where a chemical plant discharged a bunch of chlorine, and a lot of people, there were people that were injured. There was houses, there was damages, there was everything. But the police were all called in, and ambulances were called in, and fire trucks, and this big immobilization was done. Do you think that they then said, "Hey, we should get the money because of what we did"? No. The people who got paid were the people who actually got damaged by the chlorine. They either breathed it in or had damages to their house. They were the injured party. Well, I believe that the people who are the individuals who were prescribed this early on, before we all knew what this medication was, and we all know that they lied. It wasn't an 8-hour. It wasn't a 12-hour medication. It was an 8-hour medication. We all know that they marketed it in such a way to tell us that it was non-addictive. They pushed this medication to these doctors to push it onto us. So we know, just in the same breath as those people that were injured by that chlorine, that we are an injured party. Purdue hurt us, a lot of us. So why aren't we getting compensated like anybody else that would have a claim from somebody that injured them? Why should the government step in, take the money, then the money goes to the cities and all these other people? And I heard that that we'll get maybe $30,000-$40,000. Are you kidding me? That medication alone was $800 a month, not including the Roxys, which were another $100 and some. So every month that was a $900 some medication. For my insurance was paid for a long time, but all of a sudden it quit. Doctor visit every single month to get that prescription. I was a slave to that. The methadone clinic, that was $15 a day for years and years and years to try to stop. Rehab centers are $90,000. Detox. We're talking not. And then let's break out. That's just the medical. Let's look at the damages that I caused in my family. I've destroyed my family. Fortunately, my wife didn't leave me, which I don't know why. She probably should have. I lost my house. Harleys, guns, jewelry. I pawned her jewelry. I've stolen off my family and hurt them to, took advantage of their love because like I said, the person that you see here now is not the same person that before this medication. My soul was completely removed and I was left with a shell. Now I'm rebuilding a life. It's slow, but that's the reason people that get in car accidents, when they get injured by somebody rear-ending them, that money is there to help rebuild their life, to pay for their medical expenses, to pay for a husband or wife that had to help their husband or wife go through this process and not have that person there available for them. This is why they have that. Well, why are we any different? I still don't understand how they could possibly think that the government gets this and the cities gets this and the tribes get this and the states get this and they had a fine and then we're left with the scraps. We were the ones that were injured. Yes, there's a lot of other people who, after they knew what went on with opiates, that began taking it and became addicted. And I'm not downplaying addiction to any like, but a lot of them knew the dangers. The same with the people that picked up a cigarette. The people who were prescribed by a doctor, a lot of us did not know. We were lied to, and there should be compensation for us first. We were the injured people. We were the ones that basically they stole our life. A person gets sent to jail for 20 years that didn't do the crime. A lot of times that person gets paid quite a bit. How much would you sell? I'm gonna turn 50 this year. I was 27, I'd say, when I first got prescribed that. What would you sell that amount of your life for? Not including I still have the rest of my life. What price is that? $30,000? You would laugh at somebody. I would like to ask that judge or any of those people how much. And the Sacklers lived a billionaire life at the blood of these people that they began and pushed this medication on. And we're not the ones that are getting paid for it right off the bat. It makes absolutely no sense. It's totally against the way our system works. With any kind of claim, a car accident, a person at work gets hurt by especially a boss that lied to him or made him work on equipment that they knew has a malfunction. Any scenario in this country that you could think of that somebody hurt somebody like that, they have insurance, they have other things, they are responsible for that person's injuries, except this. I know it's a lot of money, so it seems that always seems the way into the fact. But the crazy part is there's more money, but we're not getting any of it. Basically, we're getting a small little nothing, which is actually a slap in the face. Please, like I said, my name is Jason Irvine, Irvine. Get a hold of me. You message me. I'd like for all of us who are in the original lawsuit against Purdue for their original OxyContin for us to talk to band together. We need to go really quickly fight this and really against all the manufacturers that started this. But those people maybe down the line, the other companies maybe could be a little bit more different, but Purdue, the money that Purdue, they owe us first. And all this $10 billion, $12 billion, that should go to us. The people who had lost loved ones, or somebody who spent a life of misery and pain and destroyed every relationship and everything around them. We're the ones that lost here. So, find me on Facebook. You can DM me. I'm not real good with all the lingo. Let's hurry up and try to let everybody know that we should be first. We deserve it. If they stole life, maybe, but they stole our life. 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 They stole that can help build something in the future. The house that I lost. I'd love to buy my wife jewelry that she deserves, that I got rid of. Give my parents money. I'm sure all of you were telling a similar situation, except the ones that actually had to bury their child. You know, give them $30,000. Thank you. I'm sorry that you lost your son or your daughter to a medication that I lied to you about, and destroyed your family. And here's $30,000. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like the smallest insurance policy you can have for protection. I mean, regular homeowners are three times that amount. I mean, that's just, like I said, it's utterly ridiculous. So, hey, let's do this. Let's fight back.